Hi, I'm Jerome W. DeWald, founder of Legalist Law School. If you're trying to get a transcript of a court proceeding in New York, you're in the right place. Whether you need it for an appeal, a motion, or just to have a complete record of what was said in court, getting the transcript can be more complicated than it should be. That's why we created this course, to simplify the process and walk you through each step. In the next 10 minutes, James and Anna will show you how to request transcripts from different courts, explain the difference between official and unofficial versions, and help you locate the right forms online or at the courthouse. At Legalis, we believe that knowledge is power, especially when you're representing yourself. So let's take the mystery out of the paperwork together. Here's James and Anna.
Welcome to your complete guide to obtaining transcripts in the New York court system. I'm here to walk you through the process for each level of court, from local civil courts all the way up to the New York Court of Appeals. Getting court transcripts can seem complicated, but once you understand the system, it becomes much more manageable. Each court level has its own procedures, costs, and timelines, so it's important to know exactly which court handled your case. We'll cover 6 key areas today: civil courts, criminal courts, matrimonial courts, Supreme Court, the First Department Appellate Division, and the New York Court of Appeals. For each court, I'll explain how to request transcripts, what information you'll need, expected costs, and typical processing times. Before we dive into specific courts, remember that you'll generally need the case name, case number, and the specific date or dates of the proceedings you want transcribed. Having the judge's name can also be helpful. Let's start with the foundation of the system, the civil courts, then move to criminal courts.
Civil courts handle smaller disputes, landlord-tenant cases, and other local matters. If your case was heard in a civil court, here's how to get your transcript. First, determine which civil court handled your case. New York City has civil courts in each borough, while other areas have local civil courts. You'll need to contact the specific court where your case was heard. For New York City civil courts, you can request transcripts online through the court's website or visit the clerk's office in person. You'll need to provide the case index number, the names of all parties, the judge, and the specific dates of the proceeding you want transcribed. If your civil case was heard in New York County at 111 Center Street, here's exactly how to get a transcript of the proceeding. You can request an audio recording, a certified written transcript, or both. Audio copies are free, but certified transcripts can be expensive. The best and most efficient way to make your request is online. There's no need to visit the courthouse in person. But if you find it more convenient, you may order it in person in room 118. If ordering online, begin by downloading Form CIV-LT 90, revised 1206. This is the official request form used for both audio recordings and certified transcripts. You can find it online by searching for CIV-LT 90 or by visiting the New York Court's website at nycourts.gov/courts/transcripts. Once you've completed the form, email it to the Audio Records Department. The contact name is Maria Gennaro, and the office is located at 111 Center Street, room 118. After your request is received, either online or in person, the audio copy is usually ready within 48 hours. You can request that it be emailed to you, or you can pick it up in person. Now take note, the audio files you receive may not play in standard media players. You'll likely need VLC Media Player, which is free to download and works with the court's file format. If you also need a certified transcript, you'll choose a transcription company from the list of vendors authorized by the court. That list is available on the same court website, nycourts.gov/courts/transcripts. Click the link labeled Transcription Services to access all 5 pages of the legacy list of approved providers. The list you receive from the clerk in person will only include the first page, which doesn't contain the most affordable options. Prices aren't listed online, so you'll need to reach out to the vendors directly. I used AI to contact all 80 companies on that list. Many addresses were inactive, and many vendors weren't accepting new orders, but a few were responsive and affordable. I discovered providers with no minimum fees, including one offering a 10-minute transcript for just $30 with no minimum and a 30-day turnaround. There were also 2 others at $36.50 and $40 for a 10-minute transcript with no minimum. In contrast, many transcription services impose minimum charges ranging from $150 to $200, regardless of the length of your hearing. For shorter proceedings, such as motion hearings or landlord-tenant cases, be sure to choose a vendor without a minimum charge. That can save you a significant amount of money. Our comparison table of costs, minimum fees, and response times shown here was updated in June 2025. After you email or submit your completed form in person, the Audio Records Department will forward it to the transcription company you selected. You should hear from the transcription company within 2 business days. If you have any issues or need to follow up, you can call the Audio Records Department directly at 646-386-5735, or you can call the transcription company at the number listed on the vendor list. For courts outside New York City, contact the clerk's office directly. Many have similar online systems, but procedures can vary significantly between counties. Now let's move to criminal courts, which have their own unique procedures and requirements.
Criminal courts handle everything from minor violations to serious felonies, and getting transcripts from criminal proceedings involves special considerations due to the nature of these cases. Criminal cases in New York are handled at different levels: criminal court for misdemeanors and violations, and Supreme Court for felonies. The transcript request process depends on which court handled your case and your role in the proceedings. If you were a defendant, victim, or attorney in the case, you generally have the right to request transcripts. However, some criminal transcripts may have restrictions, especially for ongoing cases or those involving sensitive matters like domestic violence or cases with sealed records. For New York City criminal courts, contact the clerk's office in the borough where the case was heard. You'll need the docket number, defendant's name, and the specific date of the proceeding. Unlike civil cases, criminal cases often have multiple appearances, so be specific about which hearing you need. The cost structure for criminal transcripts is similar to civil courts, typically $4 to $6 per page. However, if you're indigent and the transcript is needed for an appeal, you may be eligible for a free transcript. You'll need to file an application demonstrating financial hardship. Processing times for criminal transcripts can vary significantly. Routine transcripts take 3 to 6 weeks, but transcripts needed for appeals or post-conviction proceedings may receive priority processing. Criminal proceedings often involve sensitive testimony, plea negotiations, and sentencing hearings. Be specific about which portions you need, as full trial transcripts can be quite lengthy and expensive. If the case is still pending or under appeal, there may be restrictions on transcript availability. Check with the clerk's office about any limitations before making your request. For felony cases handled in Supreme Court, follow the Supreme Court procedures we'll discuss later, but be aware that criminal cases may have additional security or confidentiality requirements. Remember that criminal transcripts may contain sensitive personal information, victim testimony, or details about ongoing investigations. Handle these documents responsibly and be aware of any confidentiality restrictions.
Matrimonial matters, including divorce, custody, and support cases, often require transcripts for appeals or modifications. The process varies depending on whether your case was handled in family court or Supreme Court. Family court handles many matrimonial-related issues like child support and custody. To get transcripts from family court, contact the clerk's office in the county where your case was heard. You'll need the docket number and the specific hearing dates. Family court transcripts typically cost between $4 and $6 per page. Processing times range from 3 to 6 weeks, as these cases often involve sensitive matters that require careful handling. For divorce cases heard in Supreme Court, the process is similar to other Supreme Court matters, which we'll cover next. However, matrimonial cases often have special confidentiality requirements, so you may need to provide additional identification or proof of your involvement in the case. If you're requesting transcripts for an appeal or post-judgment modification, make sure to specify this when making your request. The court may prioritize these requests or have special procedures. Many matrimonial transcripts involve testimony about finances, custody arrangements, or personal matters. Be prepared for potentially lengthy documents and consider whether you need the complete transcript or just specific portions. Some courts offer expedited processing for matrimonial transcripts, especially when they're needed for urgent custody or support matters. Ask about rush processing options when making your request.
New York Supreme Court is actually the trial court for major civil and criminal matters despite its name. Getting transcripts from Supreme Court requires understanding which department and county handled your case. Supreme Court cases are organized by judicial districts and counties. You'll need to contact the clerk's office in the specific county where your case was heard. Each county has its own procedures, but there are common elements across the system. Most Supreme Court transcript requests can be made in person, by mail, or online through the court's electronic filing system. You'll need the index number, case title, and specific dates of proceedings. Costs typically range from $4 to $7 per page, with minimum fees varying by county. Some counties require a deposit, especially for lengthy proceedings like trials that may result in hundreds of pages. Processing times generally range from 3 to 8 weeks, depending on the county's workload and whether the proceeding was recorded by a court reporter or digital recording system. For complex cases with multiple proceedings, create a detailed list of the specific hearings, motions, or trial days you need. This helps ensure you get exactly what you need and can help control costs. If you need the transcript for an appeal, inform the clerk when making your request. Appeals have strict deadlines, and some counties offer expedited processing for appellate purposes. Many Supreme Court proceedings are lengthy, so consider whether you need the complete transcript or just specific testimony or arguments. You can often request partial transcripts focusing on particular witnesses or legal arguments.
The First Department covers Manhattan and the Bronx and handles appeals from Supreme Court and other lower courts. Getting transcripts from appellate proceedings has its own specific requirements. First, understand that you might need two types of transcripts: the original trial court transcript for your appeal record and the actual appellate argument transcript from the First Department itself. For the appellate argument transcript, contact the First Department clerk's office directly. These proceedings are typically shorter than trial court hearings, focusing on legal arguments rather than witness testimony. Appellate transcript costs are similar to other courts, usually $4 to $6 per page. However, appellate arguments are typically much shorter, often resulting in lower total costs. Processing times for First Department transcripts are usually faster than trial courts, typically 2 to 4 weeks, as the court recognizes the time-sensitive nature of appellate proceedings. When requesting appellate transcripts, provide the appellate division case number, the date of oral argument, and the names of all parties. If you know the panel of judges who heard the case, include that information as well. Many appellate arguments are also available as audio recordings, which might be sufficient for your needs and are often less expensive than full transcripts. If you need the transcript to support a further appeal to the Court of Appeals, make this clear in your request, as it may affect processing priority.
The Court of Appeals is New York's highest court, and transcript requests here involve the most formal procedures in the system. Court of Appeals transcripts typically involve oral arguments on appeals from the appellate divisions. These are highly focused legal proceedings, so transcripts are usually shorter but very technical in nature. Contact the Court of Appeals clerk's office in Albany for all transcript requests. The court has specific forms and procedures that must be followed exactly. Costs are similar to other appellate courts, typically $4 to $6 per page, but given the focused nature of these proceedings, total costs are often modest. Processing times are generally 2 to 3 weeks, as the Court of Appeals maintains efficient processing procedures given the importance of these cases to the legal system. You'll need the Court of Appeals case number, the date of oral argument, and complete party names. The court is very particular about proper case identification. Many Court of Appeals arguments are also available as audio or video recordings through the court's website, which might meet your needs without requiring a full transcript. If you're requesting the transcript for a petition to the U.S. Supreme Court or other federal proceedings, inform the clerk, as this may affect processing procedures.
Let me share some important tips that apply across all court levels in New York. Always call ahead or check the court's website before submitting your request. Procedures and costs can change, and some courts have specific forms or online systems that must be used. Keep detailed records of your transcript requests, including confirmation numbers, payment receipts, and expected delivery dates. This helps if you need to follow up on your request. Consider whether you need a certified transcript. Certified transcripts cost more but are required for some legal proceedings. Regular transcripts are sufficient for most purposes. If you're working with an attorney, they may have established relationships with court reporters or preferred procedures for obtaining transcripts efficiently. For very old cases, transcripts may not be available or may require special procedures to access archived records. Contact the court well in advance if you need transcripts from cases that are several years old. Remember that transcript costs can add up quickly for lengthy proceedings. Review your actual needs carefully and consider requesting only the most relevant portions. Finally, be patient but persistent. Court systems handle large volumes of requests, but they're generally responsive to proper requests with complete information. With this knowledge, you're now equipped to navigate the New York court system and obtain the transcripts you need for any level of court. Each system has its own procedures, but they all share the common goal of providing accurate records of court proceedings.
Thanks for watching this quick course from Legalist Law School. If you found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the Pro C Pro channel. We're adding new resources all the time to help you navigate the legal system with confidence. And we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell us about your experience getting a transcript in the New York courts, or any tips you've picked up along the way. Your feedback helps others and helps us improve future lessons. Until next time, stay strong and stay informed.